Well, you may have seen the clips on their channel, an anchor doing what no anchor is allowed to do, asking Nancy Pelosi a question and then pushing for an answer. The question was, why are you blocking coronavirus relief spending? Here's how the Speaker of the House responded.
Make a deal, put the ball in McConnell court. So what do you say to Ro Khanna?
What I say to you is, I don't know why you're always an apologist, and many of your colleagues apologists for the Republican position. What makes me amused, if it weren't so sad, is how you all think that you know more about the suffering of the American people than those of us who are elected by them.
And it's not about me. It's about millions of Americans who can't put food on the table, who can't pay the rent.
And we represent them. And we represent them.
Getting by these laws every day is critically, critically important. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for your sensitivity to our constituents' needs.
I am sensitive to them because I see them on the street begging for food, begging for money. Madam Speaker, thank you so much.
Have you fed them? We feed them.
We feed them. We throw the food over our fence in Napa, and they gratefully clamber up and eat it like squirrels. That's how Nancy Pelosi feels about you. She's feeding you. You owe everything to Nancy Pelosi. And if you feel that way, you can see why you'd be a little short-tempered if some ungrateful plebe tries to ask you a real question. Anyone who does must be a secret right-wing operative. Here she was in August making the same point.
Democrats want more money. Republicans want a lot less. They are saying they're willing to show flexibility. And they're also saying a lot of the money that was passed in the spring, Madam Speaker, has not even been spent yet.
Well, so if you want to be an advocate for them, Judy, if you want to be an advocate for them, let's know what the facts are.
I'm playing devil's advocate here to ask you for your position.
Nancy Pelosi is convinced a lot of liberal reporters are secretly right-wing, probably white supremacists, actually. What's going on here exactly with her? Mark Steyn is our expert on deep-seated issues. We're happy to have him on tonight. Hey, Mark, what is this?
Well, I'd like to know when feeding time for Nancy Pelosi's constituents is, because I'd like to go to San Francisco and see that. All the zoos are closed at the moment. That'll be about the only entertainment left. And the idea of Wolf Blitzer as somehow this shill for the Trump administration, I also find it's LBJ's famous line that if he'd lost Walter Cronkite, he'd lost the country. For poor old Nancy Pelosi, if she's lost Wolf Blitzer, she's lost the last 7 people at Gate 28 at LaGuardia with no cell phones and only CNN to watch. I mean, it is an extraordinary moment. What your show has been about, the theme of this show tonight, from top to bottom, whether we're talking about this judicial hearing, whether we're talking about the Facebook, Twitter, whether we're talking about Mazie Hirone's sexual preference for not hearing the word sexual preference. What they're all about is about, don't laugh, Tucker. My sexual preference is to hear Joe Biden woozily staggering around saying the word sexual preference while Mazie Hirone whips me with the new edition of Webster's Dictionary. That's a small niche demographic, but that's the one dirty. I belong to. Sorry, I don't usually work blue this early in the evening, Tucker. But anyway. But what they all have in common is actually what Nancy Pelosi said to Wolf. You don't know enough to ask me about the bill. Yeah. The bill is prepared by, as she put it, my chairs, by which she means the chairman of these committees whose staffers write the bills. And nobody knows what's in them until they've been passed. And then we have this absurd spectacle. The whole country has to come to a halt over the appointment of a judge. A judge's republic is a contradiction in terms. The framers would have been horrified. They would have been even more horrified by the furniture in the room where physically the senators have to be 12 feet higher than the level at which the witnesses sit at. I testified at the Senate. I got a crick in my neck looking up at Cory Booker to see what he was mocking me for. I testified in the Canadian Parliament last year, and what do you know? And the House of Commons in Ottawa, they put the legislators on the same level. Nancy Pelosi embodies the gulf that's widened up between the political class and the citizenry, and that condescension to Wolf embodies it.
That's a very deep point. A judge's republic is a contradiction in terms. Boy.
Absolutely.
Mark Steyn, thank you
Thanks a lot, Tucker.